Yeah, we're at Bella's, yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna go over there.
Okay, yeah, sure, sure, feel free to come. Welcome everybody, Dr. Avadi, welcome, welcome.
Shawat Tov, Rav.
Shavua Tov, Shavua Tov. How are you?
Ah,
Okay, maybe this class will help a little. Okay,
I'm going to be better after the class.
okay, 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 maybe we'll talk. Okay, so welcome everybody to Chassidus from Sfat, Israel.
One second,
This,
can you say it
this,
again?
welcome everybody to Chassidus from Sfat, Israel. We got enough. This will be a good YouTube recording. Don't feel the need. We can send you the link. So, in any event, this class is a very important class. It's on being happy. Now, how are you? Shalom, shalom. That, what? No, I don't think she came for us. So, trust me that happiness will bring Mashiach. So we have to understand a little bit about what is this thing called. If you want to join, you're welcome, okay? What is this thing called happiness? What is happiness? So happiness is very, very interesting. What I'm going to say to you now is a little bit of my own insight into happiness. And I think it's true. I usually like to say things that I've learned in Chassidus, but be that as it may, this, I believe, is true. You know, the previous Rebbe once quoted something for the Chovos HaLevavos. He was a very, very great rabbi. He wrote a book called Duties of the Heart, one of the best books ever. Oh, you got the book, and I really recommend this book, Chovos HaLevavos. So, happiness. So one of the things he says there, he is very philosophical, right? And so not everything that he says is, let's say, based on a source. But the previous Rebbe says, you know, sometimes if something is true, it doesn't have to be based on a source. It's true, right? So happiness is the expansiveness of self. If you think about it, what makes somebody sad? Let's say, I don't know, you had I don't know, something that, you had a simple example. You had a friend of mine once, he lost $1,000,000, let's call it like $1,000,000. He was a wealthy guy, so he wasn't gonna go hungry from it. He lost $1,000,000 on a business deal. He was very upset. So, in other words, so what's the difference if he had that million or he didn't have that million? It wasn't a survival issue, but it's like an expansiveness, right? Let's say a person, I don't know, you get a promotion. A lot of the young people today, they say you don't have to pay them more, you just have to promote them. What's the big difference if you are the president? You're not the same amount of money. It's like some kind of ego. It's like an expansiveness. So there are certain things that give us pleasure in life, right? So for example, love by nature will give us pleasure. Conversely, there are certain things that give us pain, right? It says a person needs to have a home. You have to have a sense of, you have a space, right? Misha ein lo bias, ein lo ish. A person without a home is considered as not a person. Person, it says, whoever has a wife dwells with blessings, all these tremendous blessings. It's very real. I've been, you know, thank God, I like to say I'm an expert. I've been married twice. So certainly I can see it clearly as a single person. You can't compare your sense of happiness with a wife and without a wife. You can't compare. It's like two different worlds. And there are definitely things, fundamental things that give us greater simcha, greater joy. Certainly, when you have something new, it gives you happiness, right? Normally, we don't necessarily feel happy from the old, right? I'll say, oh, you have the best car in the world. We have the same car for 1 year, for 10 years. It's not going to give you any pleasure. It says a constant pleasure stops being pleasurable. So happiness is very much receiving something new. That's why in a certain sense you can only really be happy from Torah and mitzvahs. Because Torah, always you can have a new innovation from growth, because it's constantly new. Everything in the physical world ultimately is going to get old very quickly. You know, thank God, God blessed me when I was living in South Africa. My wife at that time, God blessed us with a beautiful home. And trust me, it was a big blessing, because before I was living with the in-laws. Even though they weren't outlaws, they were in-laws. But at the same time, anybody that knows it's not your space. Even the best people, it's not your space. How long did it take me to get used to? It was really a very beautiful home, thank God. It was a big blessing. It's still the home for my ex and for my kids. You know, they have a home. How long did it take me to get used to having this nice home, going from this to that? 3 days. 3 days later, I was used to it, right? So a person has the capacity to get used to anything, and all the studies with wealthy people show that wealth, at a certain point, wealth is good because you need it in order to basically be comfortable, not to be in deprivation. But at a certain point, wealth does not buy you happiness. You could be a millionaire, a billionaire, it doesn't make a difference. It's not going to make you happy. But Torah and Yiddishkeit and spirituality, oh, how are you? Welcome, good to see you.
Thank you.
Torah and spirituality, this will make you happy. And you see it very clearly. When I look around the world and I look, who are the happiest people in the world? I would have to say, it seems to me that particularly, I'm just being objective, Chabad Bali Tshuva. People that they did Tshuva, but particularly to Chabad, because Chabad is very, very, you know what Tshuva means, the kind of, so Chabad is because even if you're connected to God, you want to be connected in a healthy way. And the Rebbe was healthy. He was, like we gave a class the other day, that he was very much integrated in all aspects of reality. He believed in eating healthy. He believed in being wealthy for good reasons. He was he believed in the integration. All things in this world serve as an integrated process of a complete spiritual, physical unity. And that's a very important thing, because if we reject something of this world, there's a part of us that's not feeling happy. There's a part of us that feels that you know, this whole world, everything in the world was made for the glory of Hashem. And so every single thing in this world, and this is one of the keys to happiness, is to understand that everything is good. I learned something very beautiful. Rav Mayel gave a whole a Shabbaton on happiness yesterday, and he said something very, very profound from the Mitzler Rebbe, who was a very great thinker. And he says as follows: every single thing that occurs, we can take it in one of two ways. Either through humility and joy, or through arrogance and pain. Why does humility and joy go together and arrogance and sadness go together? Because pain is really sadness. They're really the same thing in a way. Because pain is loss, and loss is sadness. Because when a person is humble, everything that they get is extra. I didn't deserve this. So imagine you give to, I don't know, a person that we were talking before, you know, where I was saying that maybe you'll share with us a little bit about happiness, but when a person goes through a lot of stuff in life, and then they get something, they can feel happy. You know, you give a kid, I don't know, $1,000, he'll be very happy. Hey, Ilana, how are you? You give a kid $1,000, he'll be very happy. Why? Because he doesn't have anything. You give a millionaire $1,000, he won't even look at you like you did him a favor. Big deal. So the point is that when a person has less, then everything else is more. When a person has a lot, everything else, even more, is pretty much, sometimes it means, yeah, it's like, whatever, I deserve this anyway, etc., etc. I have a friend, he has a friend that's a billionaire. So he comes from a certain community that are very cheap. So this guy, he told me once that his friend used to take him on vacation just because he's lonely, so he wanted a friend. He took out of his pocket like a traveler's check or something for $180,000. He had forgotten about a check that was $180,000. One time he was walking, and this guy that I know is a little bit of a wild child, and he gets onto drugs and this and that, whatever. He gets through his episodes, and his shoes were flabbing. He didn't have, so this guy takes out a wad of, I don't know if it was a wad of money. He takes off the rubber band. He says, here, use this to put your shoe together. So trust me, this guy is not a happy man, a man that can't part. You have your friend that you're taking him on your vacations because you're lonely, and you have a wad of money. You can't even buy him a pair of shoes, and you have to give him a rubber band out of kindness. This is not a happy man. You can trust me. The flip side, you have people that are very, very kind, very, very giving. These people are very happy people because they're always in the modality of love. Love is one of the keys of happiness. Now, unfortunately in life, a lot of us are suffering. What are we suffering from? We're suffering from fear. There's a psychologist that wrote, said there are two things that people become afraid of. They become afraid of circumstance. God forbid there's trauma. So a person went through a war. I don't know if you know this, but unfortunately there are 20 vets, American vets, that commit suicide every day. I'm amazed how maybe it's the hand of Hashem, but in Israel, the vets are much healthier. Everybody in Israel is really a vet from the war, but they're like mamish. They're like amazing people. In fact, Israel is one of the happiest countries in the world, right? So part of happiness is resilience. So a lot of people, let's say growing up in America where things are good, so you don't know how to deal with anything that isn't good, right? This is a very important thing in life. When you go through difficult things, I was telling you before, I don't want to go through everything, particularly to the whole world, but I've been through difficult things. One of the greatest things that I learned in life is how not to get my way. A person that always has to get their way can never be happy. You know, a spoiled child, a child that you give them everything that they want from a young age, they'll never be happy in life. You see, spoiled children are not happy. Why? Because they expect the world to give them what they want. And so they always feel that the world is not, because really, the world is not your mommy and daddy. It ain't going to give you what you want. So, but actually, children or people that are brought up sometimes in difficult circumstances, certainly with parents that know how to say no to the child. That's why it's a big mistake. We have a generation, myself a little bit included, that are brought up with the word yes more than no. For a child to be healthy, they have to hear the word no more than yes. Because a child that hears the word no more than yes, they know that they are not the king of the world.
But
The world
how
is,
you say the no?
of course, so I'm not saying it,
Because
God
if
forbid,
you
in
say
a heart.
no with the harsh way,
Yeah.
that the child feels that he is not
Sure.
loved. And
Yeah,
so
100%.
to say it in a gentle like, no, I love you, for example.
Or even just to say no. You know, I remember I have a cousin, he's a very special guy, and he has very special children. His child was a little baby in the high chair. And I think he gave up maybe candies or something like this. So I wanted to give, the child was crying, he wants a candy. So I wanted to give it to him. My cousin said, no, don't give him the candy. I don't want him to think that he can get things when he cries. My cousin at 3 weeks old, he would let his kids, 3 weeks, cry for 3 nights in a row. They stopped crying every night. And you say, oh, this guy's a jerk. He's not a jerk. He's a very nice, disciplined person. And his kids are very nice, disciplined people. So again, he has no harshness in him whatsoever, but he understood the value of a child hearing the word no. It's true. If you had to ask me now, retrospect, do I think I would be better off had my mother done more no than yes? 100%. I'd be a healthier human being. She's a great mother, but actually studies show that perfect parents don't make perfect children. So if you're a mother and you weren't perfect, you shouldn't feel bad about yourself. Because actually a child hearing the word no makes them realize that they are at this level in society and they have to adapt to society. What happened? My cousin, he's a rabbi in Kauai. He was renting out a building, a school. This school was based on, what is that philosophy where the children have a lot of like control in the classroom? It's a certain philosophy. They do it in a lot of Montessori school, yeah. And so basically the children, but they didn't only do it in preschool, they did it in elementary school, high school. The children made a coup d'etat and they got rid they couldn't have the school anymore. They were so independent that they got rid of them. This is actually what happens in democracy, that you give people independence. In fact, a friend of mine told me, you know, when do they have riots in the prison? On Cake Day. Well, on Cake Day, they suddenly the ego starts, hey, look at us, we're getting cake. They start throwing a riot. So I'm not saying that we have to, God forbid, be too tough in life. But the point that I'm saying is that in life, one of the greatest lessons that I learned is how not to get my way. And if you learn that, then you know how to get your way. Or at least how not to be upset when you didn't get your way. Right? Very important. So I want to give the microphone for a moment to Yochanan, because Yochanan is a real example of a person that actually is living happiness. And he's been through a lot in his life. Maybe I'm not going to take the microphone, but he could share to him beautiful techniques on being happy. He was 3 years in hard labor, and his mother was a survivor, as we just learned. And he's really, he's a real living example of happiness. So can I turn it a little bit towards him? Okay.
Hi, my name's Hanan Cherney. I was born in Czechoslovakia to parents who survived the Holocaust. They lost a lot of money, a lot of wealth and peace, and they lived in poverty. There is a proverb in Czechoslovakia that if you want to raise kids properly and good, give them taste of poverty. And if we find some suffering and some troubles in life, and as you said, if the life doesn't go the way we planned or we would like, we learn, to appreciate what we have. The rabbi in Vancouver said to me once, Yohanan, you put Hashem to the steering wheel of your life. So sit next to him on passenger side and enjoy the life. So that I learned, sometimes it's bumpy. Sometimes we don't have what we would like, and sometimes troubling with health or with other stuff. And but we learn that if we rely on Hashem, we can go through, because it is the way how Hashem plans of us. He's in control, and especially if we ask Him for control over our life, He showed us our power, to go through the troubles and everything. And what to say that about I raised up 3 girls, with myself. I've got a divorce because my first ex-wife had manic depressions,
Right.
and we couldn't live together. And the court gave me the children, sole custody. And it was very hard because I